Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together! Yay! Alright, Nadia's looking fabu and there is no way out! I've searched for a way off and found none. No boats, no doors, no escape. And I can't swim. Oh.
I think that's a part of it. Good point. I wonder if she's probably tried that. She just hasn't mentioned it because it'd be a little embarrassing for her going, I'm deeply contained and I don't admit to, like, making myself gross. Yeah.
Also going, maybe there's nowhere to swim too and the island's completely isolated.
Oh, and she has no idea. Literally, she's like, I don't know how to...
What direction would I swim? There is no land.
Yeah. But also then you'd be like, what's wrong with the area? You wouldn't just go... This is just the lazarette and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's fine.
I always expected my journey would end here. And here I am. Did you expect to die from the plague? Really?
Your journey doesn't end here. I don't know what you're talking about, but you're fine.
That sounds like I expected to die from the plague, because this is where the plague bodies go.
Yeah, kinda, which is sort of interesting. So, like I said, I think this is like Nadia's old memories that have all been sort of gonked off, because that would make sense, because she would have been aware of people dying back then.
Oh, yeah.
And she hasn't really talked to us at all about what she has and hasn't remembered, so I'm just going with the fact that Nadia really doesn't remember a bunch of stuff, and my memory's coming back, but it's only in reference to whatever the fuck she's talking about.
Yeah, sort of.
So, yeah. I blurt it out before I can help myself. Nadia blinks, looking at me in confusion.
And how, exactly, would you know such a thing?
I know now why I'm here. Why Nadia is.
That's good, because I'd like to know.
And then I'm suddenly going to go off about time.
Why do we do this again and again? It's been said like 10 times out here. Time works differently in the realms.
Yes.
Like, do you not think we get it? It's okay.
It's again one of those things where, like, if you're saying that the character is talking to themselves about this, that would kind of make sense. But you'd be like a character where, like me, when I've done tasks before, I go, this is the thing I need to do. And even when I've said it 5 million times, I need to do it again. But that's about, like, for me, at least, like, a level of engagement. It might be some sort of, like, ADHD kind of behavior going, if I don't do this, the one thing I need to do, I need to do this thing exactly this way with this thing.
And I'm gonna say it, so I know exactly what I'm doing. Okay,
yes.
Okay. Let's say, but...
It's just strange, because, again, I cannot tell what this character that they're trying to write is actually supposed to be like.
Yeah,
because that's so much still that idea of going, we're trying to not write a non-character, but is a character, because you can't help but have character anyway.
Yep.
Time works differently in these realms. It's not linear, it doesn't flow like a river. It's more like a lake. Ripples upon ripples on the surface. I put together...
It's more like a rake. Lipples and lipples.
Lipples and lipples. Lipples and lipples upon the surface.
We're gonna swap the letters, just lean in.
This Nadia is from the past. A time when she was still trapped in her dreams, sleeping in that tower. How do you know?
Wait, in what tower?
Remember, she said it was her room, not the tower.
Is her room in a tower?
What?
Too?
What? You've never described that at all!
I was gonna say, because she's not sleeping in the tower because no one knows where that is. You don't have Pasha going tending her in her contemplation tower.
Yeah, nobody has ever mentioned that before. What?
Especially if everyone doesn't know it's there.
I feel like that is an idea they brought in later, and they forgot to edit.
I think it's like, your bedroom is higher up in the palace, but like, is your bedroom in a tower, and then you have a tower on a tower? Towerception. It's okay. Anyway, I appreciate that you called this correctly, and this is exactly what's going on. Well read.
Yay, good for me. But also, like, a time when she's trapped in dreams to the year she was asleep? Why would she imagine that she was going to end up in the lazarette while she was asleep?
Maybe, basically...
Oh, it's just nightmares? Basically from her being asleep and having seen all those people being dragged to the lazarette, all the bodies, everything else?
Yeah. Though, theoretically, she would have had, again, 2 years awake after Lucio died.
Uh-huh.
But if she didn't remember any of those in the sleep and she'd already had her amnesia, as it were, maybe she just picked up right from when he died. Or something.
I don't know. There's something about this that seems wonky time-wise, but then, you know. For those 3 years she was sleeping. Now she's asleep for 3 years.
Okay.
Oh my god, my whole butt.
I was asleep for a year. I don't remember 3 years. I'm now asleep for 3 years. It's okay.
This fucking story.
I have wondered if that's what they've meant all along, but just have said it wrong. I want to say poorly to be friendly, but just wrong a couple of times, several times.
I don't know. That doesn't literally...
Because the reason she doesn't remember is because she was asleep, and so, like, basically, Lucio died and she fell asleep. So she was there to witness his death, or hear about it, and then...
And Portia was still only with her for like a month.
Yeah, so she was asleep for, like, most of 3 years without anyone tending to her.
Oh my god.
But apparently, a whole magical sleep, I'm sure, not like bed sores and diapers.
Yeah.
I'm confident.
Yeah, I imagine not.
All right. Sleeping. This is where she was.
This is where she was.
I'm glad you understand what happened with Corazon, because we have not picked it up.
I was also going to say that whole thing to me didn't convey any of that at all.
No,
but
it was really, I've been asleep for a year, I don't remember 3 years.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so you've been doing something for 2 years. Maybe you don't remember sleeping for those 2 years. I don't know.
I don't. I am a magician. We know these things.
I'll just BS it.
I was about to say, that's deeply shitty, weird sounding. What the fuck? We know these things, I say in a patronizing kind of way. We know these things.
In an
It's
Astra
okay.
kind of way.
Yeah, kinda!
That is your dad, you're okay. A magician, are you? What a curious person fate has sent to my feet. You're still laying in the sand.
Oh my god, I love that that's actually accurate. We've really just been laying
have
in the
that
dirt.
in the ash.
In the ash.
And she's just been looking straight down at us going, well, you're kind of cute down there, covered in soot, unmoving. You'll forgive me if I don't believe you. I've seen little to prove otherwise.
Is it so hard for her to accept the future gets better, that she must immediately assume it's a lie?
Oh, I thought she meant about being a magician. Sorry, because that was the immediate topic.
That was what I got! This whole area
I thought we were gonna
weirdly assumptive.
I was like, I thought we were gonna have to prove we were a magician, and she's like, no, don't believe you, it gets better. You know what? For anybody out there who doesn't feel like it's going to get better, it's not guaranteed to get better, but if change is possible, it can get better.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you can ever get away from what you're in now, and even if you're thinking that will never happen, if you have a timeline that you can perceive, such as I will age out of this, such as people around me will either make different job decisions, or even at a point die of old age, things will change.
Yes.
I mean,
assume it's a lie. I'm loving the leaps of logic here for where this conversation is apparently going. I am completely lost.
we're good.
We're
Fine.
great.
But I suppose I can entertain some curiosity. Tell me, Corazon, what does my future look like if it does not end here?
I want to comfort her. I want her to believe things will be better. That there's hope. I didn't know she was... The thing is it sounds like she doesn't seem like she's like, there's no future, I can't leave.
She doesn't seem hopeless, she just seems resigned. Like,
Yeah.
yes, this is where I'll end up. In the same way that someone can be like, ah, yes, this is my lot in life. I'm not excited about it, but I'm not hopeless about it either. It's just, that is how it goes. This is the way the cards fell.
And also, again, I don't think she perceives that she's basically not awake, as it were, or that she's not a full person.
Right.
She seems fairly set in, this is me. I am here, and everything else is a lie.
Yeah, kind of, and I'm in a place where everything's a lie.
So I'm really lost.
It's okay. You're going to meet someone special? I can't say. Oh, okay, but like...
What?
Why would you go to I can't say instead of I will just not focus on that piece, such as you will awaken from all of this. You will make new choices.
Okay.
You will return to your kingdom.
I'm gonna tell you that romance does not fucking solve your problems. Because you are still going to be with yourself when you are alone, and you are already alone by yourself in your own goddamn head.
What I was gonna say.
I've always found this trope to be really frustrating, especially because I'm so confused with everything else going on. Why did we go here?
Okay, hold on. Okay, so if we're thinking about who Nadia is theoretically right now, she saw Lucio die, her last relationship was a fucking mess, but she saw him die, or knew he died, and then fell asleep and was in here. And in here, she seems to have her memories and awareness intact. But then she loses it once she wakes up. Basically, it's all a dream, it all fades, right?
Right.
And so, let's say that is what's going on here. So, from Corazon's perspective, and being aware of things, it would be, this is the Nadia that just became a widow, and hated her last relationship. So I'm going to tell you that what will solve your problems is a new relationship. That sounds insensitive.
That
doesn't it?
sounds deeply insensitive.
So I'm going to say,
Especially because it's like her only obsession that she talks about by herself is going, I just don't want to be like Lucia.
I also-
Not the only thing I ever wanted was a good relationship and now you're here. But
Actually-
she never actually says that to us.
she talks about two things.
Okay.
One, I don't want to be like Lucia. I don't want to be a tyrant like he was.
Right.
And two, she talks about wanting to be her own person, to differentiate herself from her sisters, to stand out on her own, to be an individual. So her own statement of, I want to make my own way in the world, my own choices, acquire my own power, kind of thing, and be separate from all of you, doesn't function in the sense of a relationship. Like, it doesn't support it by going, you'll meet someone.
Yeah.
So while that's all like, that would suggest a level of going, let me flirt with you when we will meet someone in the future. I don't think Corazon would ever do that.
No, I don't think so. That's why I'm like, what the
Also,
what is the logic?
If Corazon currently has, I mean, the logic is, it's cute to flirt with the love interest. Not, this makes sense in the story. That is all I get from it.
It is a romance trope, and I get that, but I'm like, it is so counter to what Nadia has stated
To her
in the
journey.
Yes!
And I'm like,
and it seems really
I want the
insensitive.
romantic scenes to really line up with her journey and her
Yeah.
interests so much.
Alright, well, we just...
Sorry,
I was just like...
I can't say.
I would be like... The thing is here, I'll talk about how basically you're starting to become successful. You're taking steps to be your own person. Make accessibility. It's not a, I can't say. It's a, let me be very clear and explicit with the things, even if I've basically had to force you through many of the things based on my own perception of how we've played through this game. Of course, I'm going, I keep herding Nadia in so she stops running away.
Corazon using their cane to gently herd Nadia like a flock.
But it is a, you have started to accomplish all these things. You've done this. You've woken up. You've got all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Regardless of whether or not it makes sense.
Instead of saying I can't say, it'd be very much like, you're going to leave here. You're going to get back to your castle. You're going to make changes. You're going to become your own person. Like, that's, easy enough. So I can't say, I guess.
I can't say. I can't say!
I understand. The future is meant to remain a mystery, is it? Or perhaps you simply couldn't come up with
Look
a
at
lie.
that little shitty face!
Fast enough.
With the little eyebrow raised. Boink.
And the little, like, really bowed lips.
I love that.
Woo! It's very cute. But also I'm just like, this feels oddly like that sort of punishment thing, like a real strong shutdown. There's not another different thing to say. It's the, I'll either say something cute and warm and romantic to you, or I will shut down completely.
Yes.
It's not like, I want more balanced options. And again, if you're gonna have a total shutdown in the kiss him, slam the door in his face, as the game trope is right now for the advertisements.
Right.
If you're watching this years in the future, that was the time.
Yes.
I would say, but like, it is the sort of thing of, you should have, in my opinion, 3 options in that case. One that is, yes, everything. One that is medium. And one that is, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But here we go. Lie fast enough. I do not blame you. The current reality of our situation is,
Like I said,
quite distracting.
the thing is to her, this is reality. Period. I'm like, why are you going to tell her this is going to be your future? What are you even talking about? Also, when did magicians suddenly start going, we know what the future is? Because as far as I could tell, that's not what we do.
So in this case, as a magician, you know what the future is because you've come from it and landed here because you couldn't land here without magical powers. And so you're not lying, but it's not something you do as a normal function.
So are we actually saying that Nadia is going to go, yes, people who say that they travel back in time?
Well, also, though, I was just like...
So there are magicians then who actually time travel?
I don't know. I say, but the thing is like, I wonder if Nadia remembers this when she's met us.
Oh, God. The thing is, like I said, I think this is a separate, personality thing.
It does feel like it's completely something separate.
Yeah, I don't...
Like it's not time that's going to affect her in the real world. It's just something happening in layers.
The reality of our situation.
The unreality. The different reality.
Reality. None of this is real. The lazarette isn't really here. So where are we really? Yes. Nadia, do you remember how you got here?
And suddenly we've gone to Inception. Do you remember getting here?
Yeah.
It's a dream.
Yeah.
Also, why you're walking around in the ash in those clothes. Just saying. I fell, I think. The ground crumbled around me, and then I was here. And yourself.
I fell too.
From the sky, in fact.
Falling. Why does that sound so familiar?
Falling is kind of common with human bodies.
Yeah, kind of, actually.
Just couldn't say.
Check the deck. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, the deck.
Yes.
I keep forgetting we have the fucking cards on us!
The cards. It's
That
okay.
we never really do anything with.
Check the cards.
I reach into my pocket, not expecting to feel anything, but find the comforting weight of the cards. But the comforting weight of the cards finds my hand, excuse me. This doesn't make any sense. The cards, they were with my body, that I suddenly fucking remember. What? What do we not I'm so...
It's
we
okay.
can't... people do not take stock of what they actually do and don't remember, and it frustrates the hell out of me. Lucio should have them.
Except your body turned into mist, and then turned into his body, so why would it give him the cards if it didn't give him, like, your clothes? Lucio suddenly wearing what Corazon was wearing to the masquerade. What am I wearing? What am I wearing?
What? I pulled the deck out. My fingers hover over the top card, and then I flip it.
Foosh.
The tower. It says no words when I brush my fingers over the card, but I know the message it tells me all the same.
That's the tower?
It looks like it's eaten by bugs.
It does look pretty infested. TBH.
Actually.
Also distressed. Whatever deer creature that is looks very distressed.
It does. Poor antlered critter.
Sad.
I'm sorry. It got an infestation, like the, what is it, the pine trees?
Oh, with the
Yeah.
pine beetles.
Yeah, that pine beetles.
It needs help.
Yeah, it needs a lot of help, and unfortunately the only way we know how to help is burn.
Well, I would say in this case, you could like nip comb and medicine and such.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. We're not at the lazarette.
Then, where are we?
The tower. The moment I speak, the ground begins to shake under us.
Oh dear. Oh wait. We went with Julian to the tower. Do we go with her to the? Do we go with everyone to the tower?
Oh god, we might.
We might.
But it doesn't crumble. Instead, the rumbling approaches like a stampede.
I have used its true name, therefore it must reveal itself.
Oh look, we found Beetle Julian again.
Ah!
Beetles, red beetles. They chitter as they swarm closer, devouring everything in their path,
Yeah, that
including
sounds-
the tower.
Like an infestation.
Yes.
No, I won't let you take Corazon. I won't be alone again.
Why do you suddenly believe that we're an actual person? We literally couldn't tell you anything, nothing that would satisfy you. We gave you a shitty answer about something, and now you're like, another is potentially a I'm like,
I think it's at least I have someone to talk to that isn't hurting me right now. I think that's it.
Probably. But it's too late. The beetles swarm all over us until all I see is red.
Blanket of beetles, snuggle deep in. Scoot, scoot, scoot.
That is apparently all I see.
I was like, why?
I
wouldn't keep my eyes open if beetles were swarming over me.
Oh my god, okay, so I have, not super regularly anymore, but like one of my most vivid nightmares that I have as a recurring nightmare involves beetles and swarms and going under your flesh. I can't.
Yeah, no.
Oh god.
So the eyes being open is interesting.
Yeah, I would never fucking do that. I close my mouth.
See, and I have
I'm
weird...
freaking out.
And when I say recurring, I mean like I've had it like 15 times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's recurring to me. I say a dream about bugs that are half dead. Like zombie bugs or corpses that keep moving. So they're dead bugs, but they're not dead the way they should be, and it's just the creepiest thing in the world. Even if they're not doing anything, it's just full-on creep zone. Sorry if that was not comfy to anyone, but bugs, you know?
Nightmares. Aye, and then, as suddenly as they came, they're gone.
That's usually how coming works.
Nadia pants beside me, scratching at her clothes as if they're still crawling all over her. Yes! Yes. Oh god, I would be freaking out, I gotta tell you.
I don't know.
I reach out, gently taking her hands.
Away from herself. I hate this place.
I let out a soft laugh. It's good to see she's all right, and I can't help but echo the sentiment. I thought actually we were incredibly chill because our character hasn't even really reacted.
I'll say, interestingly, actually, how much they've had this character panic about other things and be super stressed. We are super chill in this moment. And I wonder why and how.
Because Nadia's freaking out, so we need to be the chill one.
So we get to be calm.
Yes, even though it also then contradicts it by basically echoing the sentiment means that I feel the same.
Yes.
So you're kind of having the same
So
reaction.
I feel the same panicky, but I will act completely calm for you.
Yes.
Which is a little wild and feels like you'd have that in your head more.
Sigh. We both sit up, catching our breath.
We've just been on the ground this entire time.
We really
We're
have!
on the ground talking to her for the entire scene, just laying in the ash, gently making ash angels. Woo!
And the bees
what
swarm
kind of creature are you?
up over you
And
while
then they
you're on the fucking ground.
And she has to watch you get like covered on the ground as they come up her, because she'd have eyes a lot longer than you.
Oh, yeah,
And just watch that be taken away. That would be sucky.
Mm-hmm.
I say, and then you're laying on the ground in the tower, and you're just like, I just live on my back now, and not in the good way.
And live on my back on steps.
Ow.
Ow!
I hope there's a landing.
The scenery has changed. It seems we're at one of the landings.
Yes!
Oh, thank God. Because we haven't read anything. Sorry.
Yes.
Of a great spiral staircase.
I understand these realms do not follow the same rules as my world, but this is new to me. How do you understand that?
I feel like I'm going to lose my
How do you
whole
know
ass.
they're realms?
Okay, so I feel like I'm going to lose my whole ass.
Do it.
Suddenly, she seems like she doesn't know anything about magic. She suddenly seems like she doesn't know anything about the Arcana. Why does this Nadia not know?
Because if she knows anything about it in the future, which
Like,
she does seem
she-
to when she doesn't have her memories,
Uh-huh.
why would she not know now?
I don't know.
Except for she does know that there are realms, and that they don't follow rules, and that time moves differently here. So I can't tell what she does and doesn't know at all. Maybe she's just not very organized in speaking about her own knowledge. And so she's being inconsistent even though she has consistent knowledge.
I have no idea, but it's really hurting my brain.
Yes.
Mm.
The tower. Is that where we are now?
It's where we always were. It just looked different.
Your tower was the lazarette, a pile of corpse and death, of your own personal fears.
Yes.
I see. Well, perhaps now there is a way out. Shall we?
I'm also really entertained that this version, they couldn't figure out this particular route. They couldn't figure out how to actually get your love interest to be there. So they give you an after image of them?
Yeah, I was
Or
wondering
like
about that
the
myself.
locked off memories of them, whatever my sort of theory.
The experience they
Because-
had when they were there by themselves.
Because with Julian's route, you have
He's
Julian
there with you.
Like, it is actually him. Instead of, here's a weird...
So what I'm wondering is,
Person, not
one,
person.
if either you'll be the only one who remembers and knows this because you had it by yourself with her past memories, or two, if they're going to go, because of the way time works, this is actually what happened to her back then, and then she'll be able to remember it once you come back out of it. And it's like, those are the only two options I can see in my mind, and I'm curious which one they'll choose.
My brain is
But-
like, I guess we need to find the most romantic option, whichever one that is, because it also seems to largely do a lot of that.
It can be very difficult in this case to, well, then she'd remember, because she'd go, you were there with me. You know, so that'd be the most romantic one. I was going to say, but it'd be very difficult if she didn't remember, if this really is just an after image, if this is the memories contained in there outside of time by themselves rather than in her head. And you have an experience with her, and then that is something that you will remember as if it were her forever, but she will not. And she won't even be connected to, not like I forgot, it just didn't happen with her.
Yeah. She offers me her hand as she stands. I take it, fighting my smile. Why would I be
I just
compelled
take
to
it.
I just take the smile. Together,
And
I just take the smile because she's smiling at me.
that's fine, I receive
Alright,
it.
together we begin descending the staircase. Because I think on some level there is some level of like your character, or at least Corazon, being... we would have to own up to being some level of like disquieted / discomforted. Like I still think that even if you don't dislike bugs, that's a lot.
That is a lot. Also, again, you're still in a weird place, and
You
not
seem to
moments
remember
ago,
less not remember.
I say, not moments ago, we were real disoriented. So longer
Still
sighs.
walking. After what feels like hours, we finally stop on a landing that looks much like the one we began on.
There's no end to this nonsense. There's no way out. This place simply taunts us. I would love to go and be like putting X's on the landings and see if you ever, get to somewhere new, but also going the same experience of being like, does the tower get grumpy that you're drawing on it?
She drops down, exhausted, to sit against the curved wall. I join her, slowly sliding down.
Because if this were my body, stairs could be hard on me for that long. A lot.
Actually, our shoulders bump together, and she doesn't move away.
Ooh.
Nadia, there has to be a way out. I know because Nadia finds it. She escapes this place. She wakes up. She finds me.
Not she wakes up, she does more things. She specifically finds me.
This again, I'm like, when did this thing of going, no, I have to save Nadia?
But also we're really centric on she finds me. You meet someone, you meet me. Why are we so self-focused on her journey?
I don't know.
Your journey ends with me. I guess, is what I'm hearing.
Things are set in stone. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Are we actually literally going, is this the past? Like, is that what you're actually implying?
Like I said, that's...
Why?
We are... Well, because these memories resolved themselves. Because it's the most romantic thing that she can go, you helped me in the tower. You asked the question, I
did.
think you're right.
God damn it.
I think you're right.
This is...
You're fine, you can do it.
Nadia, why were we in the lazarette?
What do you mean? These worlds rarely make sense. How should I know?
No, it might not follow the logic of the real world, but there's logic here. The tower. It represents something constant, something stable, and something that needs to be destroyed in order to move on. Do you feel guilty about everybody being thrown in the lazarette because they were all dead?
Maybe.
Like, I mean, you did mention you felt horrible because you felt like you were completely, basically forced to inaction by your husband gaslighting you and manipulating you so expertly you couldn't even function.
And also you feel bad for, basically the suffering and loss of your people.
Inaction, yeah. What does the lazarette mean to you?
Failure. Same thing it means to Julian.
Yes.
Yes. What does it mean? Yes!
Yes!
I have understood the character. Yes.
Woo! Which is also what makes it really fucking weird to go, no, you meet a person, because that's what she cares about!
Again,
what the fuck?
Having romance in your future doesn't fix the fact that you feel like a failure because you failed your people, the thing you wanted to use to define yourself as an individual.
I gotta tell ya, being depressed doesn't just go away because somebody loves you.
Also,
I will attest to that personally.
Your sense of identity doesn't resolve because someone loves you.
Yes!
And so if you're going, I'm feeling suffocated and like I don't have a distinctive place for myself in the world because of my family, that's not going to go away because someone loves you or because you get involved with someone, unless you're like, now my entire identity is this relationship, which is not healthy.
Yes, it's not!
Failure. We knew the plague was coming before it arrived in Vesuvia. The battlefields outside our walls were littered with it.
You guys have been at war? What?
You were at war? With whom?
What?
Again, we just found out that Lucio was a titan on the battlefield, not only in the bedroom, but also on the battlefield.
Right?
based on my lore.
Yeah.
I say, and the fact that I didn't know you guys were at war, and no one talks about that?
Why does nobody talk about this?
I guess the plague was so over... You'd really think, first the war, then the plague, now this economic downswing. It's never going to get better.
I'm like, you would have exposition. So, like, the thing is these mysteries feel so goddamn unnatural because they don't come up. Like, people talking about stuff, or even in the way of, like, a murder mystery would.
It's incurious. Okay, littered with it. I didn't know there were battlefields.
I didn't know that either.
But I did nothing. I failed to stop it, and when the plague came, there was nothing left to do. What were you going to do? Quarantine the city? No one from the battlefield can come in?
Right.
We will not... What did you do? Rescue the dying soldiers, and thereby brought the plague in, and thereby you feel like an ass?
Like, what are we talking about here?
I could have stopped the plague out there. How, dear?
Except for the fact that as they talk about, like, the reason why okay, so there's lots of infections that go around on battlefields because of cleanliness.
I was going to say, everyone must wash before they return to the city.
I didn't do anything. You didn't force people to wash themselves.
I guess.
There
was no there were unsanitary conditions in your medical center.
I'm also like, you're a heavy port town. Your mother is the goddamn empress of the Prakrit Empire.
But she wouldn't ask for help.
But she wouldn't ask for help, and they also wouldn't know, because when we talk about, basically, like, cities that are on the water, they're massive trade epicenters. Like, seriously, everybody would know that you were at war.
Well,
Everyone!
I was gonna say, it is really weird that you would be, 1, at war, and 2, about to have a plague, and then 3, having a plague without your larger governing body interacting. Because a lot of times, even if you're like, no, we're not sending for help or aid, your bigger governing body comes in and goes, excuse me, you're a mess and you're dangerous, or you're not being, I'm gonna send somebody to deal with this.
Also another thing that is funny, and I know the plague is supernatural, but sit here with me for a second, okay?
Okay.
They're next to water.
Yes.
One of the hardest things in why you had plagues was because of lack of access to water and being able to be clean. Even if it's the ocean, you still had a higher level of cleanliness, so more often your seaport towns actually didn't really have as many problems in the same way. Because everything got flushed out all the time. So that's even more confusing. But this is also why I said, okay, well, if the plague is actually supposed to be coming from the castle, which is what we found out later, then what happens is that everything would get washed out to sea, and everything basically downwind, as it were, where the current would go, more and more plague would have actually just spread massively down the countryside. Because the reason I remember stuff like this...
Here's a weird question. What? So maybe in this one the plague didn't originate in the castle, it originated out on the battlefields. And again, there's no continuity between stories. It's just a completely different story with the same characters and a similar plot line.
But also, they're not the completely same characters.
Well, I was going to say, the same name and appearance and function of characters.
Yes.
So, not the same people. It's again, an AU with no canon.
Yeah.
It's just...
No wonder people argue forever about, like, the stories. Because sometimes, like, I have to admit, like, back when I was trying to avoid spoilers, sometimes I was, greatly entertained. And not in a ha-ha-ha, tee-hee. But it was like, hey, wow, you guys are really, like, world-building, discussing, blah, 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 whatever. Like, they just have massive amounts of stuff, like, people discussing what actually happened, what the story actually is.
Trying to make
and I was just like... No wonder, honestly, there's a lot of debate, because there is no definitive timeline at all. It's so all over the place, and the characters themselves aren't even consistent.
And if it's different in every single route, which we don't know, because this is only our second one.
But based on what we've seen so far, yeah.
But I did nothing. I failed to stop it. And when the plague came, there was nothing left to do. Actually, there's a lot of things to do, but it doesn't mean any of them would work, because again, supernatural plague. It takes children first, you know. Children are weak, says Nadia. So the plague comes and destroys them. And then they go to the lazarette. Well, since when are we focused on children? I've never seen a single child in this entire world.
Neither have I.
Their bodies are burnt, not even afforded a proper funeral, because there were too many of them.
I thought the fact that you burned bodies was to stop the spread of the plague.
Right.
Not just because there were so many of them and people couldn't afford it, which is obviously a contributing factor, but a lot of people have talked about going, the reason why you burned bodies was to avoid the spread of the plague. Like, that is...
So yes.
Or this is just what she's choosing to focus on for reasons.
Or this is what she feels like, because this might have been her experience.
What if it's a cultural thing, though, too, of going, like, you need to have a proper burial, and burning your bodies...
doesn't do that.
Burning your bodies basically removes your body from, like, your appearance, as it were, for, like, your spirit or something. But that's me also going off of world building, because I can't... My whole brain, I'm sorry.
Also, again, okay, so if she's been royalty her entire life, and not really connected to, as we say, the common folk, there really could be an experience of going... This must have been the case, because she doesn't have medical training, as far as we know. And she has very little medical knowledge, as far as we can tell, either, having never talked about it, and as far as we can tell, also never engaged with the doctors that worked directly in her palace. So she doesn't seem curious about medicine or medical technology or healing people, even though she's like, I could have done something about the plague, but in that sort of helpless way of, I may not have known what I could have done or had any action to take, but I feel like I should have done something nonetheless.
Right.
And so here, going... I believe the bodies were burnt because we couldn't have the time, space, energy to do a funeral, not because that is the way to prevent the spread of the plague. That would just be her perception.
Yeah.
There's too many bodies for everyone to individually dig graves and mourn. They're all dying too, you know?
Well, anyway, we're actually out of time to talk about graves.
There's too many bodies this time, so in the next one...
we'll talk about the bodies. And the bodies hit the floor. All right, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like our stuff, please feel free to interact with the video. Like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. It actually does a lot in regards to the YouTube algorithm. Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi, Patreon, and our Twitch. We have some links in the description down below. We'd love to see you in those locations. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!